Hi, and welcome back to Farming Nature's Way. It is cold outside, so today, of course, I'm making a loaf of fresh bread, and we're also going to make Hamburg barbecue, another one of our little bit of a favorite of ours. So I'm going to be starting out with putting some grease in the pan, not a lot, but I'm using our tallow that we rendered, and I want to saute my onions and my peppers first. So I'll put my tallow in there, let that start melting. And then adding to the grease that I put in the pan, I'm going to be adding about a medium-sized onion. Now Todd and I love fresh onion, so I usually add a little bit more. And we're going to saute those for a few minutes, let them start cooking down a little bit, get translucent. And then I'll add some pepper. Now everybody's different about peppers. We're not fond of green pepper, but a lot of people would add green pepper. These are some sweet orange peppers that we had grown this summer. So I'm going to be adding those. They're not quite as strong as the green pepper, but we do like them. So I'm going to be putting those in there as well and sauteing them. And then I'm going to add some of these peppers. Again, if you don't mind green pepper is another one of the types that they've put in here, green and red. I'm just opting to use these sweet orange peppers that I did this. And I don't know, I'm doing a pound of meat, so I'm trying to gauge everything based on a pound of hamburger. I'm going to assume there might be a quarter cup or between a quarter and a half a cup of peppers along with the onion I put in there. And next I'm going to be adding, of course, the ground beef. And this is ground beef from our yard, we'll call it, because we do grass feed and grass finish. Next, we're going to add some salt and pepper. You got to have salt and pepper in just about everything you cook. And again, I'm just sprinkling some on. I'm so used to cooking this without a recipe, and everybody's different about their salt. But I do add salt, and I add ground black pepper. And then cook that until the meat is brown, and then we'll start adding other ingredients. And I've gotten a little bit crazy with the onions. That's okay, because Todd and I like them. Okay, now I'm going to add some what I call W sauce, Worcestershire sauce. And again, I usually dump this in, so what I'm going to do, just to give you a gauge, here's 1 tablespoon, there's 2, maybe about 2.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. We like Worcestershire sauce. We also like vinegar. Put vinegar in a lot of our foods. So I'm going to be putting apple cider vinegar into this as well. And I'm going to guess about 2 tablespoons. And stir that up. And next I'm going to be adding a yellow mustard. And again, I usually just squirt this in here. So I'm going to try to make a guesstimate here. And I'm going to guess about 1 tablespoon roughly. Again, we like it to be tangy. And the Worcestershire sauce and the apple cider vinegar and the mustard will really do that. Next thing we're going to be adding to it is ketchup. And of course I make my own ketchup, but any type of ketchup you have will do. And this is, again, a gauge, but what you're trying to do is make barbecue, so you don't want your meat to be dry. I'm thinking I put at least 4 or 5 tablespoons in there, and we'll see if that's enough. Because this will simmer and cook down. So while it might look runny right now, as it simmers and cooks down, it will not be. Yeah, we're going to need a little bit more ketchup in there. And that looks like a half of that pint there, so that's a good cup of ketchup. Half a cup to a cup. Pound of meat. Another item I'm going to now add is sweet relish. Again, I make my own, and Todd and I both love sweet relish. So I'm going to be adding that. And the sweet relish will really kind of balance out some of the tartness that is in there. And again, you know, Todd and I like this relish, so I'm not hesitating to put, you know, 4 or 5 tablespoons in there. I won't even blink an eye. Now stir that up, and as long as it looks like there's plenty of it in there for me, you know, and that does, you can see it. And then I'm going to let this simmer for a little bit, and then I'm going to taste it. The last thing I'm going to be adding to it here very soon will be whole garlic. Not whole, but, you know, minced garlic. If you don't have garlic to mince, you can use garlic powder. I think I read somewhere where 1/4 teaspoon is equivalent to 1 clove. Now, we love garlic here, so I've put in a whole bulb, which was about 5 cloves. And you certainly don't need to do that if you don't like garlic that much. But again, it just brings up the flavor. So we'll be back. We're going to let that simmer. Okay, the last thing I'm going to be adding while this is simmering is garlic. Now, here we grow our own garlic, so I'm very fortunate to be able to use as much garlic as I'd like. So I did use a whole bulb whenever I minced this. And I'll be adding that to the mixture. That way it can simmer with the barbecue. And I love my garlic mincer. I got it from Williams-Sonoma probably 20 years ago. And I just use it all the time in case you're wondering what I'm doing here. Don't know what I do without it. Just to show you. Put your garlic there. This presses down and goes into the little tub that fits on the bottom. Great mincer. And we're just going to let this simmer and cook down. That way it's not runny. And then I'll taste it in about 5 minutes or so and see if it needs one more little secret ingredient. So the final ingredient that sometimes I put into my barbecue is brown sugar. And that really is if I get way too much tartness, and that's kind of hard to do for Todd and I because we really do like it tart. So usually I'll taste it and say, I'll put a little bit of brown sugar in it. The brown sugar will also give it a syrupy flavor and have it thicken up a little bit. I'm not going to add too much because I think it's pretty much where I need it, but just want to talk about it a little bit. So if you were going to add brown sugar, I would just do a little bit at a time. Now I make my own brown sugar here, a very simple thing to do. I could do a video of that if you've never tried or never saw it being done. So I'm just going to add just a little bit of brown sugar to it, and it will be more than enough. And stir that up, and I'm just going to let that simmer for as long as it needs to, so that it's nice and thick. Let that water cook off. Okay, so I feel as though this has simmered long enough. I do not let it totally get rid of all of the juices, because when I want to reheat it, I need some juice there in order to do that, else I'm adding water. So I feel as though this has simmered long enough, and it's really ready to be eaten. You can still see there's a little bit of juice on the bottom, but it has pretty much evaporated all the water, and it's ready to be eaten. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and just flip this bread out of here. That And we're just going to do a couple slices. Going to put some cheese on it, put it in the oven to melt that cheese down, and then we'll put the barbecue right over top of it. Hot bread. Pretty happy with the way that it has risen. Okay, I'm going to put some white American cheese on it. We currently buy our own, but we're working on that. At least I'd say Nettie is. Nettie being our heifer that we're going to be breeding here in the summer. And hopefully she'll be having a calf in the spring, next spring, for us. Okay, so all we did was pop the bread into the oven for a minute or two, and so that the cheese would melt, and we're ready to put the barbecue onto the bread. Now you could pick this up and eat it, but I usually have to use a fork because it's usually a sloppy Joe mess. No pun intended, right? If you haven't seen my video yet on chocolate syrup, I just made some just a little while ago. We will be getting some milk soon and be having a glass of chocolate milk. You might want to take a look at that if you like chocolate. It's very good in milk, on ice cream. It's just an excellent treat. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a great day.